Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for tuning in to another day here with the Aquarium project on this, it's a very lovely day. Having a very good time. I've been, what have I been doing? Cutting up some pothos, doing some water changes, all that good stuff, getting us ready for the weekend. So I look forward to seeing you all then. But yeah, so for today I wanted to talk about a subject that I think is quite important, that doesn't really get maybe it's a different perspective, shall we say. So what we'll do is we'll do the normal kind of process where I'm just going to walk around and show you guys some cool fish and talk over it. So yeah, thank you guys very much. Just before we get started, I'd just like to ask, if you haven't already, please make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell icon and all that good stuff, because it really helps us out. Get more people in the Aquarium Project fam. So, what more could you want? But yeah, aside from that, let's get into the main topic for today's video, So today I wanted to talk about a new perspective on something that I see quite a lot of the time, and I see talked about quite a lot of the time. I think it is something that does come a lot out of the, American side of the hobby, particularly with growth of like YouTube and all that kind of thing, where a lot of people, even within New Zealand, get a lot of our resources in terms of information does come out of the United States. I think many people would be shocked how many people come to our shop, and when we're talking about their tanks, they talk in gallons. I think people would be shocked. It'd genuinely be like up there towards like 50% maybe of people saying, oh yeah, we've got whatever we've got, 20 gallon aquarium or whatever. So yeah, I think it is good, of course, connecting with people all over the world on that. But there is some things I don't 100% agree with, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is maybe one of the issues that comes out of the American way of thinking about the hobby, and that is what I'm going to describe as preventative medication, particularly for quarantining. So the first place I'm going to start with all that is, what am I talking about? What does that mean? So when you get your fish, a lot of people will recommend, oh yeah, you should be quarantining your fish and medicating them through that quarantine period. So it's not just it is a popular aquarium co-op thing, but it's not necessarily only an aquarium co-op thing. A lot of people talk about it. It's like, oh yeah, you'll want to put some, I don't know, people use erythromycin, the general cure. So I'm not 100% clued up on what they use in the specifics, but those are the most common ones. And there's a few others like your, I've seen people use formalin, people using basically all sorts of medications. Copper, that's probably more a marine fish thing, but the liquid copper, like the copper sulfate, all that kind of thing. And medicating, keeping your fish in a separate aquarium for a couple of weeks while they settle in, and medicating them with these medications in that quarantine aquarium. So the idea is, when you get a fish, you can make sure that they are healthy and happy, and gives you time to fatten them up, but prevents you from getting diseases and illnesses and infections and parasites and stuff into your main display aquarium, and from attacking and affecting your other fish. Now, this is a good idea, and I think it is definitely something that we should be doing more, just in general, keeping healthy fish. Doing our best to prevent illnesses is, of course, a really good thing and only going to help. The problem is, I would very much urge you not to do preventative medication, if that makes sense. I think the best option is, if you're quarantining your fish, just quarantine them. Keep them in a tank for 6 weeks by themselves and just monitor them. If there's issues that come up and crop up, like maybe they, develop ick or whatever, then you'd want to treat the ick accordingly. Use your wonder tonic or whatever to actually cure that issue. I would really strongly urge people to not just throw medication at an otherwise healthy fish. There's a few reasons for this. Number one, obviously, same as humans, medication does need to get processed by your body. So having to unnecessarily process medications is not a good thing. It is taking away energy, and you will often there is the potential of like doing damage to your livers in that, or the fish's liver rather. Same as there is with a human with particular medications. Particularly some of the like really like strong stuff like preventative dosing of antibiotics and formalin and that is going to do a lot of damage regardless. We know this what is it called? The formalin, for example, we know is a carcinogen. It causes cancer. So using it when it's not absolutely necessary is going to be dangerous at best. The other thing is this part pretty much is solely focused on the antibiotic side of things. But preventative dosing of antibiotics is crazy. Like, I was thinking about how I should best describe this. I couldn't really come up with anything aside from preventative dosing of antibiotics is crazy. It's mental. What you're doing is, step back. What you will read a lot about if you read the news or go look it up, there is a kind of a growing prevalence of what they call super bugs or super illness or something like that, where having a greater exposure to antibiotics and the overprescription of antibiotics means that there's a growing prevalence of illness that is resistant, bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. And antibiotics are the only means in the medication sense of fighting these illnesses. So having these these antibiotic resistant bacterias is incredibly dangerous, not just for fish here. I'm not just talking about fish, but like for people in general. So I think throwing antibiotics at healthy fish just exposes more pathogens to these antibiotics, and over time, over the long term, will decrease their effectiveness, basically. I was talking to, I think it was one of the people on the 3 Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast, like in the comments, I was talking to someone who said a similar thing about deworming. She was talking about deworming horses. What used to be the in thing is, deworm your horse every, I can't remember what it was, 9 months or something like that, or every year. And if you don't do that, you're a terrible owner. You're mistreating your animals and that. And so that's fine. But what that has meant is she was telling me about how now there's a lot of parasites that are actually resistant to the traditional wormers of horses. And what that means, obviously, is when you do need it, when you do have a horse that's sick, you can't treat it because the treatment doesn't work. And basically that's the thing that we want to avoid when it comes to our fish. We obviously want, if something comes up, for the medication to be able to, kill the infection, kill the illness. Oh, there's that little zebra plato. I can't focus on that. But yeah, we want the medication to be able to kill the illness and keep our fish happy and save them. So unnecessarily exposing pathogens to these medications causes a lot of danger and a lot of damage. It is a far more preferable system to, if we could just treat the medication as a medication, if that makes sense, and not as a immune booster or something like that. Throwing medications at these problems, I think, is really, really dangerous and something that long term is going to cause some problems. There is, of course, some things that I think is a bit different. Like if you wanted to use salt, for example, or actually I talked about copper before. Copper's a bit different. They're not so much medications, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to give my opinions on those because that's not 100% what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the proper, serious, beefy, like powerful, I guess, for lack of a better term, medications. Just throwing them at healthy fish is not good for the fish, and it's not good for the hobby, and it's not good for life in general. And I think it does have the potential to cause some real harm in the macro in the long term. So yeah, I hope that makes sense for you guys. I think by far the most preferable option is just medicating as illnesses come up accordingly, rather than just throwing all the medication at healthy fish, because it does it has the potential to cause some real long-term significant problems, which I don't think anyone wants. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, what I think. I'd be really interested to hear your guys' opinions. Please feel free to drop them down in the comments below. But otherwise, thank you guys all very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!